Hey everyone, welcome to From Darkness to Love and Light. On today's episode, I have this beautiful young lady named Trish, and actually it was kind of interesting because I think I had somebody from Threads contact me and say, like asking if there was women podcasters that wanted to share their stories and have guests on to share stories. I'm like, oh my God, yes, this is totally what my podcast is about, inspiring women's stories. So I reached out and to them and I said, yeah, please have her contact me. So she did. And so today I have the pleasure of having her on as a guest. Just a little intro about Trish. She basically, I'm going to get her to tell the majority of her story, but I just want to kind of let you know a little bit right now. She had lived in a toxic relationship for 16 years. And just a lot of stuff happened, which I guess I'll let her go into more details or whatever. But during those years, she suffered a lot of panic attacks, which I can totally understand and relate to because I've been there, done that. But today she's helping women in a bunch of different ways, which I will let her explain. So with no further ado, welcome Trish to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here. I don't know where we're going to start, but we can try and start from the beginning.
Sure.
And just where I was versus where I am now and where I'm going and the opportunities that have opened up since I was able to leave. Mm-hmm. And we'll get to that side of things because when you are in that situation, you don't see an out.
Right.
So, I mean, the red flags started, now that I can look back, the red flags started right at the beginning. But I was young, I was naive, and didn't want to see them. I saw them, but I didn't want to see them at the same time. There's always that hope that it would be different or things would change and get better, and they did. At some point they did, and things were good. There was always still that toxicity that never left, but again, you don't see it.
Right.
I got pregnant with my first, and so much still, you could still see the toxicity, you could see all of the things, but at the same time, you have a baby, and there's so many good things that come with that, right?
Yeah.
I don't even know where to start with the red flags, the arguments all of the time, the deflecting my feelings and emotions, and it was like molding.
Yeah.
Molding you into who they want you to be versus who you are. And that's where a lot of, fast forward to today, that's where a lot of my work comes in because you lose who you are. You lose your confidence. You lose your trust in yourself, especially over that length of time. Like, I was 16 years of my life. I was 19, I believe, just 19 when I met my ex-husband. And that's a good portion of my life.
Yeah. Yeah, because you're still so young,
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, thank God that you're still so young and you're out and you're able to enjoy the remainder of your life without all of that in it. So I'm so happy for you in that respect.
Thank you. Yeah, it's so fast forward to child number 2 and all of these other pieces, and then baby number 3 comes along, and it's still just building up and building up and building up, and nothing really gets any better, but it's not getting any worse. My breaking point, when I noticed things were bad, was, I believe it was before, it all starts to blend together, obviously. I believe it was before COVID hit. It was a couple years before. I noticed things were getting worse. And then COVID hit. And obviously that brought out the worst in, I think, almost everyone. You were forced to sit with your thoughts and your feelings and all of the things that were going on. And a lot of people don't know how to do that. They didn't know how to do that. So it brought out the worst in everyone.
Yeah.
And that's when I really started to notice things shifting for the worse. I ended up spending a week on a couch, got kicked out of my house, was allowed back in, but like just the depth of the arguments were getting worse. The repercussions, if you will, were getting worse. And then from that, we ended up moving. So I'm like, okay, new start, new house, like new atmosphere. This will be good for everyone. In the midst of all of this, I was working on my business. I had started my business, but I was seeing results, but I wasn't seeing what I wanted to see. And now that I look back, and I'll get to that, now that I look back, I can see why I wasn't seeing the results. But and this is what's led me to do what I do now. But it was August of 22. We won't hold me on dates.
2 years. Coming up to about 2 years, roughly, right around now. Yeah. Okay.
So we won't hold me on dates, but we're going to go with August of, I believe it was 22. The years blend together. I don't know if anyone else has noticed that since COVID. Like, there's no years. It's all just one big nightmare, if we will.
Exactly. It's so true. Oh, God.
But this night, I specifically remember we had a huge argument, and I was told to do him and the kids a favor and kill myself. And that was my turning point. That's it. I had already started focusing on my own personal development, my own mindset, because I knew, and I had my own plan in place and little pieces that I had built up since 2020. So I had 2 years of literally building up. And, still having that hope. You still want to hold out that hope that things are going to change and get better. For anyone listening who is maybe resonating with some of this, it's not. And I say that in the nicest way. You can hope and hope and hope. It's not going to change because they don't want it to change.
No.
And that was my trigger point that I said, I'm done.
Yeah.
For me, for my kids, I was done. And then December of 22, I left. I found this wonderful place I'm in now, and I've been here since, focusing on my healing and getting to this place where, I can come on here and openly share, which has been tough for me to get to that place. Last summer, I thought I was doing really good, and then looking back a year, I realized I wasn't nearly where I thought I was.
Yeah. But it's baby steps, right? Like
it is.
There is no perfection in this lifetime. I mean, we can only do the best we can do each day, each and every day, And it's interesting. I wrote down like geographical cure because it's funny how that comes up. I was in AA. I'll be sober 9 years on July 15th. And back in the beginning days, I remember people talking about, oh, we'll just move to this other place and everything will be okay. Like if we move away, we'll have a new place, a new life, a new start. Does that work? Absolutely.
Nope. It's still, the environment still moves with you. The toxicity still moves with you. And while there was, I held out so much hope, hoping things would get better because I have 3 kids. I grew up in a separated home. I didn't want that for them. Right from the beginning, when my first child was born, I said, I am not doing this alone. Like, I don't want that for him. Yeah. Let alone knowing I was going to have 3 more children, or 2 more children, sorry. So that aspect for me was more my values at my core of not wanting that for them. But that comment pushed me over the edge, and I'm like, no, for them, this isn't what I want them to grow up with. And then I was able to start focusing on myself and my healing and my business, which gets to actually start seeing results now because I'm in a state of being healed. Still healing, obviously. Like, there's always
Yeah.
different levels to it, different things that are going to come up and trigger you and bring back memories and bring back the pieces. But once you can start the process of healing on that other side, like, you have to get yourself out of that environment to actually start healing. So the
Yes.
work I did leading up to leaving was the work I knew I needed to do to make sure I would stay gone.
Mm-hmm.
The
Was he
narcissistic cycle.
was he aware that you were doing this stuff? Was he aware of what you were doing? Oh, he was aware. Okay.
He
And
knew I
did
was.
he? Sorry, just before I forget, because that's what happens to my brain. When he made that statement to you, were the kids in the room when he said that?
No.
Oh, thank God. Okay.
No.
Okay.
Thankfully, they were not in the room, but he
Mm-hmm.
knew I was trying to grow my business and focus on the personal development side of things. And it was
Right.
very often thrown at my face that I'm preaching mindfulness and this and that, yet I'm the exact opposite. But again, they get you riled up, right? To the
I
point that you
know.
snap. So learning even just how to control that
Right.
alone was a lot for me, because I knew it was happening and I got to the point that I didn't let it happen.
Right.
You didn't get that response from me.
Right.
And those are the pieces, like, once you're on that other side, it's like the sleep I needed, the rest I needed for my nervous system to regulate and reset. And now it's the littlest things can still, I won't be the first to admit this, the littlest things still trigger me.
Sure.
But I recognize it instantly in my body.
Yeah.
And I'm able to bring myself back that much quicker.
Right. Yeah. And
So,
that's a tough thing to do. That takes a
yeah.
lot of work to get to that point. I mean, I know. And yeah, it just,
Well, that's it. It's been years for me. So I'm like, this is
yeah.
why I do what I do, because I'm bringing those years of experience that, are considered, non-tangible pieces, but they are so tangible in the end, because everything you do comes back to you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And your control of your body, your nervous system regulation, which is such a big piece that a lot of
Yeah.
people just overlook. They don't
Right.
really pay attention to all of the pieces that are happening. But your
Mm-hmm.
mindset and the thoughts that trigger your nervous system into that state, that is where, like, the depths. I was having this conversation yesterday, and the lady was like, what you do is so deep. I'm like, I know. The depth of what I do is the years of experience and, me being in it
Right. Yeah.
to be able to share, because it's the depth of your thoughts that trigger your body into those reactions that so many people don't really put together.
Yeah.
And when you've
Yeah.
been in those toxic situations, they fuck with your head.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Exactly. They really do.
Yeah.
It's incredible what can happen to your body. I mean, like, I'll just, like, this is not about me, but I will just say this, just because how this
It's
affects your
relevant.
body,
Yeah.
it is relevant in this respect that I just spoke to my doctor yesterday, and I've realized that my body, I have fibromyalgia. Why do I have fibromyalgia? Because I've had years and years and years
Yeah.
of trauma and not taking care of myself mentally.
Yep.
And it just attacked my body. And
Yep.
this is like, I mean, I'm hoping with diet and, mindfulness and stuff like that, that I'm going to be able to change it. But this is what can happen to you. And I'm a very tough and determined bloody person. Not
Yep.
everybody has that. So,
Oh, it manifests, like, the trauma comes
oh,
out and manifests in so many different ways within us. I am a
yeah.
runner.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna rephrase that now, because I was a runner.
Right.
Last summer, I was diagnosed with hip bursitis, which is
Mm.
literally a pocket of inflammation in my hip. And 2 weeks ago, I decided to start running again. I'm like, nope, I'm gonna prove the doctor wrong. I'm gonna be able to do this, and I had a plan. And it wasn't my hip that's the problem and the swelling. It's that the swelling hits my sciatic nerve.
Mm.
And it's so deep, it has taken over a week for that swelling to go down and for me to feel comfortable again.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it's just the little pieces that start coming out. And, in 5 years, that could be gone. but it's still, I'm not giving myself a timeline for my body to fully heal from all of the toxicity. But I'm allowing it to be what it is. Mm-hmm. And as upset as it makes me, I used to love running. Yeah. I'm not going to let it take over. I'm going to look for a different outlet.
Right. But I mean, that, like, the first trigger that went off to me right then and there was like root chakra, root chakra, root chakra.
Yeah. Yep.
It's where we hold it, right? If we're not grounded, and
that's your safety and your stability. And I guess I don't talk about that stuff a lot because for me, in my environment now, people don't understand it.
Right.
So,
I know.
Right.
The woo-woo
coming back
stuff.
Right.
I'm all woo-woo anyway, so it's okay. You can tell me.
Perfect. I like crystals have been a lifesaver for me, just for, that cleansing protective power. And everyone, like a girlfriend of mine, I shared one of my stories from a couple years ago and on my social media, and she sent me a message how proud she was of me, and she was with me in that experience, and she's like, I know we don't talk that often anymore, but I still share your story with everyone. And how when we first met, you told me you like rocks.
That's hysterical.
Right?
Oh my God. That's hysterical. I like rocks too.
And I got her, that's it. And I got her addicted to them. So there's so many pieces that come in over the years that, simply sitting here trying to share my story in a short amount of time is fairly difficult because there's so many pieces that come in. But, where I am now, my business is thriving. I finally have the clarity of who it is I want to work with and how I want to help them. Because when you're in that toxic situation and growing, a business or looking for your way out, I was a stay-at-home mom.
Right. Yeah.
So my income was zero.
Right.
And you can't see your way out. Or if you just get out, you don't have that luxury of going to work for someone else. For most of us, it's not feasible, especially when we have the kids and we're still catering to their schedule.
Right.
So being able to blend all of this into one package has been difficult for me to see. In full transparency, it's been difficult for me to see how to bring these pieces together and what I want to share, because content marketing is something that just comes easily, effortlessly, natural to me.
Right.
But I also have this whole other piece that I want to share and be able to bring in, because from my own experiences, your strategy, you can have the best strategy in the world to grow your business. But if you have been in that toxic situation and, you're still healing and, I'm not in survival anymore from toxic or from narcissistic abuse, but it's still the healing part of it.
Right.
That's the piece that takes precedent over the strategy.
Right.
You don't fully show up as you. You're visible, you're there, you're showing up, but you're not at the same time, because there's that part of you that's still hiding from all of the things that you've been through.
Right.
The lack of confidence in yourself, the lack of trust in yourself is the biggest piece that I didn't even recognize until a month ago, sold my SUV and bought a car. And I'm like questioning every decision. This is the first, and when you look back at all the little pieces, this is the first vehicle I've ever bought on my own.
Oh, wow. Good for you. Yay!
Thank you. So it's those little pieces that you don't even recognize, right? So then you look at it from the aspect of, okay, when it comes to my business, what else am I not trusting myself to do or say or be that's going to get me in front of the right audience, that's going to help create the impact I'm here to create? So it's such a ripple effect, and there's so many pieces that come into it that I'm so fucking excited to start blending all of this into one container and be able to help those women, because I know what it feels like to be in those situations, but I know what it feels like to feel stuck.
Right. And so, I mean, there's nobody else that can provide you the power and guidance as somebody who's actually gone through what, they need help with, right?
Yeah.
Like, speaking from experience is just golden,
Yeah.
I mean, it's unfortunate, but that's, I think, part of our path. That's what we have to do. That's what we came here to do, and we're, moving our way through this course to learn and figure out how we're helping out
others
people on this planet. Yeah.
How we shine our light. I think the pieces we go through, we are meant to go through. You said you've been sober nine years now.
Yeah.
I believe you are meant to go through that experience to share your light on that side of things, right? Like for me, I often question, why is this happening? Like why is this so against me? Then I started shifting my thoughts to, what is this trying to teach me? What is this trying to show me? And in all of the situations where I feel down or not where I want to be, I stop and I ask myself, even in the arguments, in all of the bad, it was, what is this trying to show me? What is this trying to teach me? Because underneath it all, there is a lesson. And that lesson is meant to be shared so we can help everyone else.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You couldn't have said it any better. It's so true. And if everybody could just take that time to understand that what you're going through is for a reason. Yeah. And it may seem like the most impossible thing. I mean, my son passed away 2.5 years ago. What, why did that have to happen? Why did he die from alcoholism at 35 years old when somebody else who's like in their 80s and has drank their whole entire life is still alive? Why? But me being on here is a platform where I can make people aware that it happens to young people too.
Yeah.
Like it's not a disease that will kill you when you're older. You can die from alcoholism at 35. So, that's part of it. And part of my pain is being able to share that story, like to release some of that pain is to be able to share that story. So that's where my path is doing this, like maybe I'm not freaking, I don't know, Oprah or whatever, but I'm just a person who's had a bunch of life experiences that just wants other people to shine and help them,
Yeah.
So, yeah. So
that's
with what you're doing now. So what exactly do you do?
So I help women who have been through the shit.
Yeah.
Who want to grow their businesses.
Okay.
And not let all of that shit define who they are. I help them grow their businesses. Well, focusing on, I simplify. So my path of least resistance, if you will, is simplifying content and content strategy.
Okay.
It's easy and effortless for me. I can look at your work and decipher where your content needs tweaking and what needs to be done to get you in front of your audience. Okay, that's cool. Like the no-brainer side of things.
Right.
The depth comes in your mindset and your healing and the pieces that are holding you back to fully show up and be seen on social media.
Right. Okay.
Because this is where, when you've been in those toxic relationships, you hide. You hide who you are. You don't fully speak your truth because there's a fear. Yeah. And even if it's not a conscious fear, it's a subconscious fear that you might not even recognize is there. And that's like, I see the depths. I see the depths of who you are, what you have to offer, and how to get you to where you want to be. It's not always the nice truth that comes out, but it's the pieces you need to hear so that you can actually achieve your goals.
That's so cool. Because I think there's a lot of people out there that have the ideas and stuff. Like, I'm always full of ideas, but do I have the right way to market myself? Like, I don't know. Like, so it's just, I just do whatever.
Yeah. And I've been referred to as a sounding board more than once.
Right.
Because I can take, and my brain just compartmentalizes everything, and I can take everything you throw at me and look at it and say, okay, we need to do this, 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 and this. Awesome. And organize it in a way. And that's where, I don't even have to think about it.
Right.
So that has been like the greatest blessing of what I do and what comes easily and naturally to me. And then getting to bring in, I've recently just been able to start sharing my story and sharing what I've been through, to bring that into my work, which is just elevating it so much more. And I can tell that I just got like super excited talking about it, because it truly actually like lights me up to be able to bring that in. Whereas last summer I wanted to bring it in, but I couldn't figure out how to bring it in because I wasn't ready to bring it in. I wasn't ready to talk about it. I wasn't ready to share what I had been through. Right. I would share privately, but actually sharing publicly is a whole new ball game.
Yeah.
And I love it. I love that I'm at this space where I can share my experiences, because I'm over I'm over it, if you will.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not letting it define who I was or who I am.
Right.
And that's such a big piece as well, because a lot of women that I talk to, they want to go back to who they were before.
Mm-hmm.
You are not that person anymore. So now we get to step forward and redefine who you are now with the experiences that you have been through.
Very, very good point. I definitely can agree with that, because I know I am not the same person I was 5 years ago, even, 10 years ago, 20 years ago. I am not everything that has happened to me along the way.
Yep.
It's made me who I am today. And that is a completely different person. And I'm okay with that. I am a lot more at peace being this person. I don't want to go back to being what I was before,
No, that's
thank
it.
you.
That's exactly, like, there's pieces of me that I recognize from, when I was 19.
Yeah.
And there's pieces that I'm like, okay, but I get to redefine who I am now with 3 children. I'm a mom. I have my own business. Like, I have lived on my own for 2 years and I haven't struggled. And these are all the pieces. And I said this last year. I set the intention when I left. I was told I'm going to struggle. I'm going to struggle financially. I'm going to have a really hard time. I set that intention that I was not going to struggle, and I haven't.
The universe does magic, doesn't it?
It does.
Just
and
believe.
Even if, it's not coming in through my business, like if the income's not coming in through my business, it's still there. I still have the support I need when I need it, and I'm not struggling. Yeah. And I think that's a big piece too for women to open up to. Mm-hmm. Is setting the intention and knowing and believing it so deep within your soul that it has no choice but to manifest for you.
Yeah, yeah.
So you can see the depths that I go into. It's not just, I don't just do surface level. I go deep, and that's, really what makes me is the depth. I can't even, I've started dating again, and I don't do surface level. If the conversation stays surface level, I'm like, yeah, no, you're out. I can't.
No, you know what you need.
Yeah.
Oh God.
I go really deep really quick, and I think it can be intimidating for some, but for those who are willing to go to those depths,
right. You're gonna find out the truth and what kind of person that really, really is quickly. Yeah. They're not hiding anything at all. Like, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh. It's so, like, you're such a beautiful young lady. You have a glow about you, and
thank you.
Just positive energy just radiating from you. And I'm just so honored that you felt that you wanted to come on here and share, before we go, I will ask where people can find you. First of all, I want to write that down so I don't forget. What's the best place for somebody to contact you or learn about what you have to
Instagram.
offer? Instagram? Okay.
Instagram. That Trish Lynn is the most effective way to even get a hold of me, I've learned.
Okay. Yeah. I know. Everybody has their things that they check and the things that they, oh shit, forgot to check that.
That was me yesterday. I had someone message me on Facebook. I'm like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I don't check here. But we had already connected on Instagram as well. So it was good. Because I'm like, yeah. I check. I have a private Facebook account for personal,
Right.
and then I have my business. And I
Right.
don't tend to log into my business account very often.
Right. Well, you
So
need to.
I know. I know.
That's where the money's coming from, girlfriend.
But Instagram is always there. I'm always checking the notifications. I'm always active.
Yeah.
So
I
Instagram
think
for sure.
I think Instagram is sort of the bigger one that most people
Mm-hmm.
really, it's funny. I was talking to the friend across the street, and she was like, I wish my daughter-in-law would put things on Facebook or whatever. She only has that Instagram thing, and I don't use that. Well, I'm okay. So she's in her 60s, and there's not a lot, like, as the people are older or whatever, they don't
Yeah.
tend to use Instagram as much, but it's whatever. I use it. It's a little confusing at first to figure it out, and I don't know how I've got like 4 freaking Instagram pages. So
Yeah. I find it more interactive,
yeah, for
which I
sure.
like.
Yeah,
And just an easier conversation flow. And you get to, if there's someone you want to go check in on and see how they're doing, you can check their stories and see what's going on, which I
right.
really like. But that is where I am most active.
Okay, cool. And it's
Uh,
at Trish Lynn, right?
the Trish Lynn.
At the Trish Lynn.
The Trish Lynn. Yes.
At the Trish Lynn. Okay, good thing I said that because I would have put the wrong information in. All right. What would you say? Like, what advice could you give if you were to give like three things for a woman who has been in your shoes? What would be the 3 words of advice that you could give them?
Ground your energy, because you will feel psycho at times. You will feel like you are the problem. You're not. Grounding my energy was one of the best things I ever did. And just coming back to my center. Mm-hmm. It's not your fault. Don't take it personally. You can't control those around you. This comes for life and in business. You don't get to control those around you and how they think and how they perceive things.
Yeah.
And that is one of the biggest pieces of advice, if I could give, for someone to take to their heart. You don't get to control how people perceive things. And we all see things and perceive things from our experience.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So you and I could look at the same picture and perceive it completely different based on life experience. And I find more often than not, especially when you've been in these toxic situations and toxic relationships, you take things, like, I'm an empath. I take things very, very, very personal. And I take them to heart. And I pick up on everyone else's energy. And I've had to learn to separate their energy from mine.
Right.
And not to take it personally, because I can't control how they see a situation or view a situation.
Right. Right.
So that's probably the biggest piece, is don't take it personal, and ground your energy so that you're not a loose cannon. Because more often than not, it's not your energy, it's theirs. And you're like, when you're in those, the dynamic tends to be a narcissist and an empath. Because
that's true.
Yes.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. And as an empath, you pick up their energy, which makes you feel crazy, but really it's not your energy.
That's right.
So
that's right.
I think that's 2. I don't know if I have.
You don't have to give a third.
I don't know if I have a third. That was a big one.
Pressure. Like jeepers. What are you trying to pressure me into something, girl?
That was a big one. It's hard because I feel like there's so much that I could share, but I mean, if my story or anything that I'm saying is resonating to your listeners, they can reach out to me on Instagram. If they have questions, I am here to answer. Like, I love being able to share my experience. And I think in a one-on-one environment, it's so much more intimate, where I can really share based on, what you're going through and what you're asking, and give advice and guidance on navigating those situations.
Yeah. Oh, that's so awesome. That's so special. Like, For sure, for me, I will definitely be chatting with you more. Oh, I just looked down and it was 3444. But that's my angel sign from my son, 444. I'm so lucky. He's always with me. It's just
He's
great.
always with you.
Yeah.
It's always, I lost my dad when I was 9.
Oh, wow.
And
That's young.
there's always signs that he's with me, and that's the greatest feeling.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. So interesting because I had no idea that you're all like into the crystals and woo woo
Oh,
stuff or
yes.
whatever. So yeah, and it's just funny because we're talking about that being an empath, and I literally just made this bracelet. I haven't even written all the stuff about it, but it's basically protection for people like us that when we don't get to do like our self-protection ritual or
Yep.
whatever, sometimes you can just get attacked. So it's like, no, I got this bracelet that's going to protect me from
Yep.
you mean asses that are shooting
Yep.
shit my way.
I didn't put a ring on my ring on. I actually have a ring that I bought the day I went to sign my separation papers.
Oh, cool.
And I wear it almost all of the time. It's black tourmaline.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Grounding. Yeah. Love it. Love it. That's, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard. Like and you can feel it, right? Like you can feel when you get those psychic attacks or whatever, like you really can. Like it's just, but we don't always have that time to say, okay, I'm going to envision myself in a protective bubble. And like, you don't always have that, like.
Yeah. And
So.
it's knowing when that, even when you need to just take that pause. And one of the biggest pieces in the beginning for me, when I could feel my energy shifting, was just taking that pause and breathing.
Yes.
Just coming back to simple breath work to ground yourself back in your body.
Yeah.
Is so effective. And it's just as simple as breathing into the count of 4, holding for the count of 4, and breathing out for the count of 4 as often, like as many times as you need, just to feel your body relax.
Yeah.
I could be in the middle of an argument with my kids and I will just literally pause and breathe.
They're like, oh, mom's breathing. Oh, God.
Yeah. Well, and it helps you come back to how you want to show up in the world, not reacting,
right,
but responding.
Right.
So
Absolutely.
that's a big piece as well.
Yeah. Wow. I love this chat today.
This is good. I hope it helps some of the women who listen. I feel like there's like open pockets where we could keep going deeper, but it's, again, if there's any questions or anyone wants to go deeper, my DMs are always open.
Yeah. And you know what, Trish, too, like if you feel like, you want to come back on another time and just like share more stuff that you think like, oh, you know what? I could talk with Lynda about this or that or whatever. I'm always open for that too. Right. Like,
perfect.
Like it just doesn't mean it's like a one and done kind of thing.
Yeah. Perfect. That would be amazing.
Yeah. So anytime we can always do that, but, well, I guess we'll probably close, but I appreciate you so, so much. And I wish you all the best with your business and your life. And you are going to do fantastic. I know you will. And I will put in the show notes your contact information. And thank you for being available for others too. Sometimes people just need to like ask that one little question or whatever that it may help, right?
Yeah.
So
I am starting a Facebook group.
Oh, cool.
Which I'll send you the link as well. You can add to the show notes. It's in the very beginning stages, but it's for exactly that, to bring people into the supportive community and create a supportive community for women who have been in toxic situations or are still in those toxic situations and can't see their out.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it's giving them the opportunity to come in and ask the questions if they're looking to start a business or grow their business. And, they're where I was. You've got it. You're doing all the things. You're showing up, but you're not seeing those results.
Right. That's what you're there for.
That's what I'm there for.
Yeah. Love it. Love it.
Oh, so I will send that over to you as well.
Okay, cool. That's great. All right. Well, thank you so much, honey. I truly appreciate you being here, and as I say, I wish you nothing but all the love and light and happiness in the world. And we will hopefully talk again soon.
Yes. Thank you for having me.
All right, sweetheart. Take care. Have a great day, everybody. Thanks for listening. And I'm sending you all love and light too. Have a great one. Bye for now.